Hey everyone and welcome back. Okay, in this tutorial what we're going to do is we're going to write an arrow function with one parameter defined. So an arrow function that is expecting to receive a piece of data passed in as an argument. So what I'm going to do is we're going to create a function called triple number. I'll do it the old way using a function declaration first, just so you see how it's written. Then we'll do it as an arrow function, and then I'll show you how you can actually really shorten the syntax of an arrow function if there's only one parameter. So that's what we'll do in this tutorial. It's going to be a short tutorial, but hopefully I don't scare you off. Arrow functions can be a bit intimidating when you first see them, but we're going to be basically using them for the rest of this course once we get past this section. Okay, so the old way what we would do for the function declaration, so function declaration is we would use the function keyword. So we've seen this many times before. Then what we're doing is we're giving our function a name. So I will call it triple number. We have our parentheses and we have our curly braces. So inside of the parentheses, you have to decide whether this function is taking in an argument or not. It is, because I want to pass in a number as an argument and then return that number times 3 to triple it. So we know we need to define a parameter here inside of the parentheses. So I'll just call it number, and then what we'll do is we will just return number times 3. And if we call or invoke this function, so if I just say console.log triple number times 3, so if I pass in the number 3, for example, we're passing the number 3 into the function triple number. So the function triple number receives 3 as an argument passed in. We return the number, i.e. 3 times 3, we should get 9. If I just save and refresh, because we're logging it out to the console, we get 9. Okay, awesome. I'll do one more example. If we were to do that again, but maybe pass in the number 2, we should get 6. Okay, so I pass in the number 2. What are we doing here? Well, what we're doing is we're taking this number 2. That's the piece of data or the argument that we're passing into the triple number function. So our function is defined up here. So we pass in the number 2, our function accepts it, and then it just returns 2 times 3, so we get 6, and then we just log that out to the console. So if I save and refresh, we get 6. Awesome. Now what we're going to do is we're going to write out that code again, but we're going to do it as an arrow function, okay? So I just press Control and / to just essentially comment out that code, because if I want to use the same name for the arrow function. So we've seen how we could do this. We say const, give your function a name. I'm going to call it triple number, equal sign, parentheses, equal sign and chevron, i.e. that's why it's called an arrow, opening and closing curly brace, and we can put a semicolon there at the end. And remember, even though this is an arrow function, because it's going to be expecting, a piece of data passed in, we're going to pass in an argument, we have to define a parameter. We'll just call it number again. So number is just a parameter. And what is this arrow function going to do? It's just going to return whatever number is passed in times 3. Okay. And all of that is valid syntax, and this will work. So if I say console.log triple number, if I pass in the number 5, we should get back the number 15. So what are we doing here? We're just logging out to the console whatever this result is. So we're passing 5 inside of parentheses to the triple number function. So we have const, the name of our arrow function, triple number. We have the equal to. Then inside of parentheses, we have our number. That's our parameter. We have an equal sign and the chevron. So this looks like an arrow. We have our opening and our closing curly brace. And in between the opening and closing curly brace, we just return number times 3. Okay? So this is how we basically write the same code, but as an arrow function. So if I save and refresh, we get 15. So that still works for us. Okay, awesome. Just a couple of things to know. If we wanted to, we could actually make this function, this arrow function, even shorter. So one key thing to note is this. If you are writing an arrow function and there is only one parameter, so if there's only one parameter defined, you can actually remove the parentheses, okay? So I swear you can do that. If I just delete the opening and closing parentheses, this will still work for us. So if I save and refresh, we're not going to get any errors. The function still works. So if I change the data passed in the argument to 10, so 10 times 3 triple number, our triple number function will return 30. So just to prove this to you, so we still get 30. So basically, if you're writing an arrow function and there's only one parameter, you can delete the parentheses. You cannot do that if the arrow function has no parameter, and you cannot do that if it has multiple parameters. But if there's only one parameter, you can actually delete the parentheses. You can also make this even shorter if you want. Because there's only one line of code here, what you could do is actually bring that all up to the same line. So if I just press delete, okay, we're able to do that. So we appear to have a double semicolon. So actually what we could do is we could delete that guy, okay, and that's still going to work, okay. So if I save and refresh, we should get hopefully no error. So we still get no error. And believe it or not, you're actually able to shorten the syntax even further. Because it's all on the one line, you can actually delete the word return and then the parentheses, sorry, the curly braces, I should say. So if I actually delete return, if I delete that and I delete this, that's still going to work. So I know the syntax looks absolutely insane, but it's still going to work, right? If I save and refresh, I'll prove it to you, and I'll just talk about what we did, okay? Basically, we have a const, we have our function name, okay? We have our equal sign. We have our parameter here. Because there's only one parameter, we actually are allowed to delete delete the opening and closing parentheses. So I'm happy to leave it in, but just note you can delete it. And then because there's only one line of code, we can actually just put that on the same line. But you know, if you want that to be down a line, you can. You can just basically restore the parentheses, the curly braces like so, and then just do return. Okay, and let's just delete that guy and bring that back up. Okay, so that'll still work for us. Okay, awesome. So guys, that is the arrow function in JavaScript with one parameter. So I'm happy to write it out like this for now. I don't want to make it too concise and confuse you, but just note, if you're creating an arrow function with just one parameter defined, you can delete the parentheses, but you cannot do that for an arrow function where you have no parameter defined. You still have to use your parentheses, or if you have multiple. And then, like I say, if you wanted to, you could essentially delete all of that up to the same line, and that will still work for us. Okay, awesome. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. In the next one, we'll create an arrow function with two parameters just for practice. So I'll see you in the next one.